The two empresses, drunk and playful, started to act wildly. They forcefully stripped Xiao Tian bare. In order to live with Xiao Tian, Zi Ruoyan used the excuse of protecting him and forcibly moved into the prince's palace. Zi Ruoyan looked at Longqiu Baiqing with a solemn expression, explaining the reasons for her actions. Faced with Zi Ruoyan's questioning, Longqiu Baiqing accepted and acknowledged it calmly. Zi Ruoyan nodded, looking at Xiao Tian with a serious expression, stating, "From today onwards, I will officially move to the prince's palace and live with you." Zi Ruoyan stared at Xiao Tian and carefully explained. Xiao Tian took a deep breath and sighed, marveling at how Zi Ruoyan always managed to do inappropriate things with a grand and dignified air. Sitting across from Zi Ruoyan, Luo Fenghai widened her eyes, inwardly marveling at the great flame empress. Thinking about this, Luo Fenghai suddenly slapped the table and stared at Xiao Tian, saying. Zi Ruoyan frowned and asked Luo Fenghai, "Why do you want to move over?" Longqiu Baiqing calmly watched Zi Ruoyan's actions. Luo Fenghai said, "Longqiu Baiqing knows about the news from her father, the emperor. I want to be by her side to know about it as soon as possible." Luo Fenghai rolled the hot dish into the dipping sauce bowl and sent it to her mouth. Zi Ruoyan chewed menacingly, and Longqiu Baiqing glanced at Luo Fenghai, then looked down at the dipping sauce that she had mistaken for soup. Expressionless, she began to contemplate a solution. Zi Ruoyan snorted, lifting the corner of her mouth. Luo Fenghai smirked. With a bang, a wine jar was smashed on the table by Zi Ruoyan, who squinted and shouted, "Lose and go back to your own bedroom." Luo Fenghai also produced a wine jar in her hand, smashing it on the table. The battle between the two empresses erupted again. Meanwhile, Longqiu Baiqing, who had found a solution, brought the dipping sauce in front of the two battling empresses and began to enjoy her meal, dipping meat and cooking vegetables. Even though the two empresses were in a fierce battle in front of him, Longqiu Baiqing quietly ate as if she hadn't seen anything. Seeing this, Xiao Tian was dumbfounded. After a short while, they started drinking again. By late at night, everyone else had left, leaving the front yard of the prince's palace in a mess. Xiao Tian, holding Zi Ruoyan, walked towards the inner hall of the prince's palace. Longqiu Baiqing, holding Luo Fenghai, followed closely beside them. Xiao Tian looked at the tangled figures of Zi Ruoyan and Luo Fenghai on the bed, feeling helpless. At that moment, Longqiu Baiqing suddenly burped, and Xiao Tian looked over. Longqiu Baiqing said, "It's been a long time since I've eaten so well, so I ate a bit more. I apologize for any rudeness." Xiao Tian waved his hand, indicating that it was fine and encouraging her to eat as much as she liked. Xiao Tian gave Longqiu Baiqing a thumbs up, his mouth seemingly shining. The financial power was in Xiao Tian's hands, a decision made after the previous battle between the empresses. Longqiu Baiqing thanked Xiao Tian but still couldn't understand why he was proud. She silently sat on the cold floor and said, "Please rest early." After saying that, Longqiu Baiqing closed her eyes and immersed herself in cultivation, surrounded by the flowing spiritual energy. Xiao Tian believed that cultivation could indeed alleviate fatigue, but the best way to soothe a tired soul was a good night's sleep. Looking at Longqiu Baiqing in front of him, Xiao Tian found her state very familiar. Xiao Tian said as he gently patted Longqiu Baiqing's head, putting her down on the bed. Talking to himself, Xiao Tian said, "Although I don't know what you've been through, a good night's sleep is important." At this moment, Xiao Tian didn't notice the two blushing faces that suddenly appeared behind him, startling him. Before he could react, he was pulled to the side by the two frenzied women, leaving Xiao Tian trembling in fear.